comes a gem from M. Mickey bout to drop a gem. 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 Here comes a gem. Here comes a gem. Here comes a gem from M. Mickey bout to drop a gem. Mickey bout to drop a gem. Mickey bout to drop a gem. Okay, now listen up.
What's up, guys? It's Miki, and welcome back to another episode of Blank Canvas. All right. How is my BK fam feeling? I hope amazing, excellent, swell. And if not, I hope your day and your week, and if you've been struggling for longer than that, gets a little better. But thank you for taking time out of your day to listen to little old me. So last week's episode, we were reading Obadiah. It's a short story in the Bible. There's a couple of different short stories, by the way. This is a little sidebar for people who are like, the chapters are so long, they're so overwhelming. You don't have to read the whole Bible in a day. I don't care if it takes you 15 years to get through it, you can. And if you are starting with a chapter and you're like, oh my God, this is so long, this feels so overwhelming. There are really short ones. And it doesn't matter if you don't start at the beginning. It doesn't matter if you want to start at the end and go backwards. It doesn't matter if you want to, some people suggest skip to the Gospels. I always say, just go where your heart leads you. Right? I know some people who started in Revelations and that was what got them hooked on God. I know some people who like to go in chronological order. We're starting with Genesis. So, I just don't want you to be intimidated by this Bible. Okay. There are plenty of stories, plenty of human tragedies that we can learn from and testimonies, because just like we mess up, they messed up too. But the best thing is, that seems kind of unfortunate for them. But the best thing is we can learn from their mistakes. And that's kind of how it's supposed to be for us now, except we're more prone to show highlight reels and not be as vulnerable and everything. And I mean, it comes with the territory of people trying to take advantage of it. However, we are supposed to learn from each other, and we are supposed to be like, hey, I walked through this dark season, but God carried me through, and this is how it looks, just so people know that they aren't suffering alone. Like kind of what we do with BK, right? I share my failures, my embarrassing moments, my, oh my God, I feel like I lost my mind moments. And I'm truly embarrassed by some of them. No lies are told. I'm truly embarrassed by some of them. But then I think, number one, why am I embarrassed about a way that I felt? Feelings fluctuate, right? And it's part of the human experience that we will live. Number two, if it can help anybody, that's the goal. So that was a side note. But I was saying, I think in the last episode, that I'll possibly come back and do a part 2, but Obadiah is really short. What I ended up doing, it was a really beautiful thing. The same week that I recorded that episode, I also ended up finishing Obadiah with my younger brother. He was interested in what I was reading in the Bible. And he's like, what are you speaking over my shoulder? And I was like, you want me to read it out loud? So me and him had this awesome, wholesome, wonderful, mini little Bible study session. So while my brother is playing with cars and stuff, I'm over here reading the story of Obadiah to him out the Bible. Reading the Bible doesn't have to be so strict and look the same way every time. Sometimes it's just reading the story like you're reading it out of a nursery rhyme book. Because let me tell y'all, the Bible be having some juicy stories. People who love mess and everything, Bible's a little messy. I'm just saying, Bible's a little messy. We got prostitutes, we got murder, we got kings, we have wealth, we have destruction, we have natural disasters. There's family drama, there's murdering of siblings. There's something in there for everybody. I promise. Okay. So I say that all to say that I will not be finishing Obadiah on this episode, because I also mentioned that if I felt like there was something else that I needed to share at this time, then I would be moving on. But I just wanted to give you guys a heads up that I'm moving on from Obadiah. But I think we went through the main point of it in the first message anyways. There wasn't much left besides God's final words. And I wouldn't say don't go back and finish it. Absolutely. In my Bible, I don't know how long it is in other people's Bible, but in my Chicken Soup for the Soul Bible, it was literally only one page left. So we're moving on. I hope you guys enjoyed Obadiah, but here's what I want to talk about this week. So at the time that I'm recording this, some people in certain states have gotten their SNAP benefits, and then some other states still haven't. he also was suing to not give 100% of the benefits. And then some judges at lower courts have ruled that he had to. And then the Supreme Court has stepped in and put a pause in for very strategic legal reasons. And then he's also trying to appeal it and saying, no, okay, fine. I gotta feed the people, fine. But it's only gonna be half of it. How dare you try to make me feed these people? I want to watch them starve. That's basically what they're saying. And I know there are people listening to me who think it's dramatic, but a lot of people in Congress and a lot of politicians, not all of them, but a lot of them, it's a game for them. It's a political chessboard match. And the chess pieces are human beings. And to be honest, I don't care how you voted. It's not a secret which side of the aisle I'm on, but I don't really care how you voted, what your race are. I don't even care if you're racist and hate me as a person, because yeah, I am a black woman. I don't care if you think that I'm the scum of the earth. I personally, even people like you, I think you deserve to eat. I think you deserve health care. Do I care whether you think I deserve it back? No. Absolutely not, because there are plenty of racist people who don't think I even deserve to be breathing, period, right? Let alone have food. But I don't care. I don't care, because I know there's a lot of people that's like, y'all deserve this because of the way you voted. Now listen, I can understand why it feels that way, because people were screaming from the rooftops, this will happen, this will happen. Hell, even they told us their plan in Project 2025, what was going to happen. However, I will say this, whether I agree with you politically, whether you care about my existence, whether you hate me for my skin tone or not, I still say everybody deserves to eat. I say your children deserve to eat. Your spouse deserves to eat. Just, if you don't mean me well, just stay away from me respectfully. And I'll do the same to you respectfully. But you deserve to eat. Like, how evil of a person do I have to be to look at somebody and be like, you don't deserve food, And I mean, I'll leave it there, right? I just think we have gotten so evil and ugly with each other that we can't even look at people and be like, you deserve food. Now, I'm not going to get into, I do think the Democrats are spineless, have no balls, and I thought it was very convenient for the ones who caved to not be able to vote them out for the next couple of years, or the rest. I think two of them are retiring. Convenient. Look, I don't know if Chuck Schumer was working behind the scenes against them. He's not a good leader to me. He may have worked for, generations before, but that's not going to work for my generation and the generations coming up. We want an opposition party. We want people who actually care about its constituents and where money isn't a political game in it, right? So I say that all to say that I understand why people wanted the government back open. I feel like it needed to be open. However, I hate the fact that in this country, we always have to trade one group's suffering for the next. So people are going to be able to eat, hopefully, at the time that, like I said, I'm recording. He's still trying to appeal even giving 100% of that. He's like, well, okay, I'll give you 50. But it's like people don't pay attention. They were willing to let people starve for this. They were willing to make sure that your health care didn't go up. They're like, well, we'll hold out on giving food. We'll hold out on this. It's like, this isn't a game. This is people's lives. Adults have to eat. Children have to eat. Animals have to eat. This economy is already messed up. The worst than it's ever been in a long time. My God, people are comparing that the economy could go on the verge of 2008 recession or worse. And it's a mess. It's a headache. But it reminded me of certain scriptures of what I just think we need to do. I was very proud that while the government was shut down, there were a lot of human beings who just took it into their own hands to say, hey, I'm going to put something in front of my house. I'm going to donate to this. I'm going to just feed these children. We took matters into our own hands to make sure our needs got met for when our government was playing for it. Another reason I think that they are so willing to either starve people or let people not be able to afford healthcare, besides all the money, dark money being involved with the lobbying and everything, is the simple fact of that Congress still gets paid. If Congress didn't get their money, how government employees weren't getting their money, who are keeping us safe in the skies and so forth and so on. If Congress could lose their jobs, how they so easily and conveniently let other regular working Americans lose their jobs, then I feel like they would move a lot faster. I feel like they would be willing to work with each other. And what a lot of people don't understand is that Mike Johnson had the House on vacation. It's not that Democrats didn't want to work up or show up to work. He sent them on vacation. They didn't been on vacation more this year than I don't know what. Okay? Whether it's to avoid the Epstein files, whether it's to starve people just so they don't have to extend and try to work to make the healthcare cheaper. Like, people who complain about Affordable Care Act, fine. That's fine. But you need to have a plan to replace it, and they don't. Right? And so that's my problem with that. If we're going to moan and complain, you can't just snatch the rug from under people and not have a replacement ready to go. Like, if you have a better plan, I don't care whose name is attached to it. Do it. Bring the cost down. The average person needs it. However, y'all ain't got no plan and you're trying to snatch the rug from under people? I don't think so. I don't think so. And this, again, this is not a game. I don't care if you're right, left, blue, center, middle. They all kind of do the same playbook. Like, Democrats are like, I'm going to smile in your face and then I'll betray you and, like, side against your best interests. And the Republicans are just, honestly, respectfully, upfront with, we'll be malicious and tell you our malicious plans up in front of your face and then do that. But, I mean, I guess that can be argued because sometimes they do lie. They lie and then they, like, turn around and surprise you. But I can honestly say Donald Trump, second time, that man has not lied. And to be honest, before he ran as a Republican, he didn't lie. He said why he picked that base. He said what he was going to do. And honestly, the Project 2025 has been in the works long before Trump. You have to do your research and go back on that. So, yeah, this isn't a political episode at all because I don't think people eating and getting their needs met should be a political thing. It shouldn't be a hot topic. It shouldn't even be a topic. We should be feeding people, housing people, clothing people. You know, like, I don't know when we got to a point that was like, you deserve a home, but you don't. You deserve to eat, but you don't. Are you okay? Like, are you okay in the brain? This isn't... I don't even know what you can compare it to because it's literally getting your basic needs met. I don't even know it because it's so asinine and ridiculous to me. It's, yeah, I have no words. So I say that all to say that my goal for this episode is to remind people, no matter which way it goes with SNAP benefits and other things and health insurance, I want us to all continue to look out for each other the way that we have. And I know sometimes it's going to be hard to serve people who voted, sometimes even against their own interests. They voted against your interests. They voted against their own interests. Sometimes their children, sometimes their spouses, so forth and so on. But I mean, even God tells us to love our enemies. And I'm not necessarily calling them an enemy, but it's like, if God can tell us to love our enemies, then just because somebody may have not made a decision that you would have made, for whatever reason, whether it's for they really believed him or they did it for hateful reasons, I don't think we should ever be in a place where it's like, you don't deserve to eat, you don't deserve a roof. Because I'm a firm believer that when people's basic needs are met, people are happier, less crime happens, so forth and so on. Does that mean crime will never happen? Absolutely not. But statistically, a lot of that will go down, right? And we've talked about that before. So I have 3 scriptures that I want to read just to kind of recenter us and remind us of how we should be. And the first one that I want to start with is James, and it is chapter 2. And I'll just start at verse 14. This is James chapter 2, verse 14. Dear brothers and sisters, what's the use of saving... Oh, excuse me. Let me start over. Dear brothers and sisters, what's the use of saying you have faith if you don't prove it by your actions? That kind of faith can't save anyone. Suppose you see a brother or sister who needs food or clothing, and you say, well, goodbye, and God bless you. Stay warm and eat well. But then you don't give that person any food or clothing? What good does that do? Period, James. Period. And for those that don't know James, that's Jesus' half-brother. I don't even like saying half-brother. That's Jesus' brother, but there are going to be people like, how did Jesus have a brother? He did have parents, y'all. He did have parents. Just because he was born with immaculate conception, that don't mean there were no other children around. He did have parents. So Jesus' brother, but for the people who need the technicality, I don't like that. We were raised not to do that. No, that's just your sibling. Okay. Oh, I'm going to end. Y'all already know I'm going to do a Matthew scripture, but I actually want to do that one last. So let me flip to, this is Isaiah. And then in Isaiah, I have to do Isaiah. Let's look, guys. It's Isaiah chapter 58, verse 10. This is Isaiah chapter 58, verse 10. And it says, let's see. Stop oppressing the helpless and stop making false accusations and spreading vicious rumors. Feed the hungry and help those in trouble. Then your light will shine out from the darkness, and the darkness around you will be as bright as day. Period. Verse 11. The Lord will guide you continually, watering your life when you are dry and keeping you healthy too. You will be like a well-watered garden, like an ever-flowing spring. I mean, because Jesus is the gift that keeps on giving. And just like he told that Samaritan woman at the well, girl, you'll never be thirsty again. And he meant that in more than one way. Now, the most infamous scripture that I'm going to go to is probably what y'all thought I was going to start out with. Is Matthew 14, verse 16. So let's go to, not Matthew 14, 16. Matthew chapter 25, verses 35 through 40. Matthew 14, 16 is talking about Jesus feeding them with the bread. Well, the disciples feeding them with the fish and the bread and all that. That can be used too. But the one that I think gets the point across is Matthew chapter 25, verse 35 through 40. So we ready? All right. So let me move my card. 35 through 40. Let's start here. Let's start here. For when I was hungry and you fed me, I was thirsty, you gave me a drink. I was a stranger and you invited me into your home. I was naked and you gave me clothing. I was sick and you cared for me. I was in prison and you visited me. Then these righteous ones will reply, Lord, when do we ever see you hungry and feed you, or thirsty and give you something to drink, or a stranger and show you hospitality, or naked and give you clothing? When did we ever see you sick or in prison and visit you? And the king will tell them, I assure you, when you did it to one of the least of my brothers and sisters, you were doing it to me. And it's something like my mom used to always tell us, bless people anyways, help people anyways, because you never know if they have it or not. And it's not really our place to judge like, oh, you don't deserve help because you have more help than I do, or you don't deserve help because, you may have more money than me, but how could you need help in this area? Like, we always find reasons to either justify our evilness, justify not helping or whatever. And my mom would always say, you never know what somebody's going through. It's not our place to really say and go through and determine how much help a person needs, if they need help, whether they are married or not. Because in certain communities, they'll be like, but don't you have a man? But don't you have a man? And do I need help or do I not? Man or not? Should I say this? We need help. Me and my man need help. Me, my man, and my children, we need help. Does that make y'all feel better? Like, I've never in my life understood that. When my children grow up and get married, you think I'm gonna look at them and be like, oh, son, aren't you a man? Shouldn't you be like, what do you need help for? Shouldn't you be like taking care of your family? Or, oh my God, daughter, what is your husband even doing? Like, who gives a flying, like, who cares? Who cares? If somebody needs help, they need help. We have got to stop finding every reason to not help somebody and just help them. Because whether they take advantage of it or not, that's between them and God. That's between them and God. And my mom always reminded me, you never know when you're serving the Lord. And that's kind of what that scripture reminds you of. Because just as doing it unto somebody else is like doing it to him. And let's just say God did come down one day and was like chilling and walking the earth again, because he could do this and not have to tell us. But let's just say he wanted to be a human being for temporarily, just for a moment, just to test our hearts, right? Just to see if somebody would feed him, just to see if somebody would clothe him, just to see if we would do the things that he's already taught us to do. Hello? Hello? A lot of us will fail that test because we look at Jesus and we be like, too dirty. Too hairy. You don't work, so you don't deserve this. Or, if you're homeless, you had to have done something wrong. I keep telling y'all, it rains on the just and unjust. Life happens to everybody. And I would hope that somebody would help me. And I would hope that somebody would help one of my loved ones. And I would hope that even if they're not in my circle, that we can just be decent human beings. And that's something I could say. After the election, I was truly disappointed. Because I was like, we have a humanity issue in this country. This isn't right or left. This is like y'all literally put people in power who did not, and point proven, they didn't care if they starved half of the country or not. They said, figure it out. And they're literally in courts trying to appeal to even have to give the 50%. You know, they're like, well, if we have to give 50, okay, but we're still not giving the 100. Like, the president and his administration is feeding the people while they're throwing parties, while they're tearing down the White House in building on this tacky, gaudy ballroom. Like, yo, this is the most let them eat cake scenario that there can be, right? And even in the midst of all of that, I watched so many people, male, female, multiple different races. We all came together like a community, and multiple states, even the red states that you think that wouldn't, and multiple states, and just be like, this is what you need, I got you. You need a ride, I got you. You need food, I got you. People, I know people who have chickens and stuff, they put fresh eggs out for people to take, like, I got you. And I just really appreciate us in the midst of our leaders in government. I don't even like to call them leaders because they don't lead. They're like toddlers and children who are throwing temper tantrums every other day. Even when the people in the government, like Congress and Trump's administration, weren't doing what they were doing, because I'm not talking about the government employees who were still showing up to work without a paycheck. I'm not talking about the government employees who still had to show up and work whether they were getting paid or not during this shutdown. I'm not talking about those people. I'm talking about Congress people who were still getting their check. I'm talking about the Trump administration who is still throwing parties, and he's eating and he's dancing and he's living his best life while most of us are starving. Or even if you're not personally starving, you know somebody that is, more than likely. And I heard this stat on The View probably about a week or two ago, and it was hilarious. And I don't think she meant it like ill will. She was just really pleasantly surprised. She was like, most Americans don't even have $1,000 in their savings. Rent is over that in most places. Rent is over $1,000. If people are living paycheck to paycheck, a lot of people can't even pay their rent. How you got your rent saved up in your savings? That would be nice, but God forbid you need some tires. That's part of that gone. God forbid, like, if you are a house owner or something, you pay a mortgage or whatever, that's gone. I don't even care if you're in an apartment and life comes at you, your car starts acting up, your children may need this and that. The schools are always sending stuff at the last minute there. I need schools to be a little more considerate, okay? Y'all be wanting these kids to have things, and I want them to have them, and I want them to live their best life, right? But I need y'all to be considerate of these other parents' pockets too. Y'all can't be telling us a week before that they need costume this for this classroom. I need y'all to plan ahead, all right? Be considerate of these parents' pockets. Parents, siblings, everything. Be considerate. But I do appreciate the schools for still trying to make life feel as normal as possible, right? So that's really what I want to leave this episode with, is I want us to, in the midst of everybody trying to find a reason to justify being evil or to not help somebody, may we all, including myself this week, find a reason to bless somebody. Find a reason to be there for somebody. Find a reason to love on somebody. Whether you agree with them, whether you like them, whether you hate them. And I'm not saying it's easy. If you know somebody actively goes out of their way to be harmful to you, it's not easy at all. I didn't read that scripture, but that's more so on the loving thy enemy part. That's where I would go to. And I think it's in Luke. I don't know if the other gospels talk about that, but I know for a fact the loving your enemies in Luke, he's very matter of fact, like this is what we're supposed to do, and that should be done. But when you do have to help somebody, if you're not going to have the right heart posture, or you're going to be making them feel like crap, somebody needing help, even saying something, took a lot. And even if they didn't say anything and you know they need help, still help them. Because, duh, they need help. It's not rocket science. It's really not rocket science. I'm just more appalled at how we'll literally go out of our way to find reasons to not do it versus just doing it. And then letting it be between them and God. Literally, letting it be. But I don't want it to be that I was ever entertaining an angel. I was ever entertaining God. And he was like, oh, you didn't feed me. You didn't clothe me. I was thirsty. There was no need for hospitality. Like nothing. And it's just something in me about being black. I ain't gonna even say a black woman, because I know black men who does this as well. We sometimes are, I can understand how sometimes we're viewed as our own worst enemies, because even the people who have systemically and historically since the beginning of time wished us nothing but evil will still feed them, will still clothe them. So I know there are some people listening to me like, are you crazy? These people voted for this. I understand. I do. I'm frustrated just like you. A lot of them didn't care until it hit their doorstep. And I completely get the frustration. However, who are we to say whether somebody deserves housing, like a roof over their head, or food? Who are we to say that? Like, when we start getting to that level, we got to dig deep. Like, deep. Because we're even further lost than I thought. You know? So our goal is to spread a little more love this week. And I love you guys, and I can't wait to see what we talk about next time. All right, guys. Bye.
Blank canvas, blank canvas, blank canvas, blank canvas. Don't know what the topic is, but we gon' talk about something on the mental, on the mind, weighing heavy. Society with the levies, kinda deadly. Silent killer, hard to daddy. Most killers had no daddy. Sadly, that's just what it be in my community. We got no unity. Dark skin wanna ruin me. I'm speaking fluently. So just listen. Blank canvas, blank canvas, blank canvas, blank canvas.